With her extreme body weight, this American woman bears the sad title of the heaviest woman in the world. Charity Pierce from Iowa weighs an incredible 780 pounds. We will show you how difficult is a life with such a body. Because an ordinary everyday life or an independent life is no longer possible for Charity with this weight. In addition, the TV station TLC has tracked down the 39-year-old and accompanied her in what was probably the most difficult challenge of her life, which changed her significantly until today, and which we, of course, do not want to withhold from you. In addition, you will learn which sad strokes of fate have befallen Charity and how they have contributed to the fact that her life is so sad and difficult. First, we'll give you an insight into Charity's normal everyday life. This is, as already mentioned, extremely limited by her physical circumstances. In fact, the 39-year-old can only stay within her four walls. One reason for this is that her weight makes it very difficult for her to walk, and she also needs a walking aid to support her, which makes it almost impossible for her to go on long journeys on foot. Likewise, she no longer fits into a normal car, and she is physically unable to drive despite having her own driver's license. This in turn minimizes her range of motion so massively that she is practically trapped in her own home. But there is another reason why Charity is extremely reluctant to leave her home, because she is aware of her extreme situation and even calls herself a monster or a freak. She is so ashamed of her appearance that, according to her own statements, she is even afraid of being seen by strangers. However, if she must go outside, for example, for a doctor's visit, an ambulance must come to pick her up. In addition, it takes at least a 5-person team to bump her from her home onto a stretcher and finally into the ambulance. This extremely shameful situation is only one of many humiliations that Charity must experience in everyday life, because her more than 780 pounds force her into permanent care, since she can't really do anything on her own and has become absolutely unable to live without the help of others. Fortunately, she receives daily support from her fiancé Tony and her 18-year-old daughter Charlie, who also already suffers from obesity. This all-round care has also radically changed the relationship between mother and daughter. At the age of just 10, Charlie was already cooking and cleaning for her mother. Speaking of cooking, since the little girl already had to take care of her mother back then, the family's menu is anything but healthy. So in addition to lots of junk food, they also like to have ice cream or chips for lunch. But Charlie alone would not be able to cope with everyday life with her mother. For example, Tony has to help his fiancé go to the bathroom since Charity can no longer make it there alone either. However, since even a normal ceramic toilet would no longer hold Charity, she has to do her business on a specially made slide that is ready for her in the living room. Likewise, her bed is also custom-made, as an ordinary frame would be too small and too unstable for the overweight woman. By the way, there are also no suitable clothes and especially no suitable pants for Charity anymore, which is why she only wears huge XXXL t-shirts to cover at least the most necessary. In addition, Tony and Charlie take care of Charity's personal hygiene together, since even independent washing in the shower or bathtub is no longer possible for the 780-pound woman. They only use wet wipes or a sponge to clean Charity's body, which is covered in lipedema and open ulcers. But in addition to the glaring restrictions and painful sores that make Charity's daily life uncomfortable and not exactly worth living, her condition is also extremely life-threatening. This is because obesity, as severe overweight is known in technical jargon, means that many people with a BMI value of over 29 often suffer from high blood pressure, fatty liver, and calcification of the arteries. In addition, the risk of suffering a heart attack is 70% higher than for people with a BMI below 29. With her height, age, and weight, Charity actually has an extremely high BMI, which is an incredible 55, making it one of the highest BMIs in the world and extremely threatening to her life. But how can such an extreme weight problem occur in the first place? To understand this, we need to take a look at Charity's past, because the American already suffered from being overweight at a young age. According to her own statements, the origin lies in her parental home. Her father was regularly violent, especially when he drank too much, so Charity's childhood was marked by fear. She only found real comfort in food, which is why she got into the habit of sneaking into the kitchen at night to stuff herself with whatever she could find. This unhealthy attitude towards food caused her to develop a real binge eating disorder. In this case, those affected suffer from violent eating attacks that they can no longer control themselves, and thus consume enormous amounts of food and calories. This is also the case with Charity, who, for example, can eat not just one piece but half a cake at once, or who eats not just one donut but devours 4 to 5 of these pastry rings at once. In fact, Charity has no real feeling of satiety anymore, and, conversely, never really feels full, probably a hormonal phenomenon. Moreover, she herself describes the moments of eating as the happiest in her life. However, immediately after eating, her emotions go steeply downward, and she hates herself and feels ashamed of her addiction to food. So, Charity's extreme and especially emotional eating behavior is partly due to her traumatic childhood. Therefore, Charity's binge eating affected her so massively in her teenage years that she already weighed a threatening 495 pounds at that time, and doctors advised her to go on a diet, which, however, she did not implement. When an accident 20 years ago also left her immobile for a while, the downward spiral of lots of food, little exercise, and the resulting weight gain was unstoppable. In 2017, after years of being obese and suffering from her weight, it became too much for Charity. So she decided to say goodbye to this life and radically change her life, especially for the love of her family. In fact, because of this, she participated in the TLC show My 600 Pounds Life, in which overweight people are accompanied on their journey of suffering to a healthier weight. She also moved from Iowa to Houston, 1,600 kilometers away, to be treated by a renowned obesity specialist, since with this body mass it is no longer possible to lose weight to a healthier weight through self-restraint alone. Charity in fact opted for a stomach reduction, which the doctor performed on her. In the process, her stomach was reduced from the size of a football to that of a baseball. In addition, the 39-year-old was put on a strict 1,000-calorie diet and ordered to exercise, which should make the pounds just fall off after the surgery. However, the surgery alone did not bring about any change in Charity's eating habits, which is why she went to therapy to deal with her past. Since Charity and Charlie seem to have never really learned what a healthy and balanced diet is, a nutritionist also came to their home, and they also took cooking classes to change their eating habits from the ground up. In addition to this life-changing action in Houston, however, fate hit Charity pretty hard. During her treatments, when she couldn't go home, her mother passed away, causing Charity to suddenly struggle with depression as well. These became significantly worse when her fiancé, Tony, broke up with her, who then also got together with Charity's sister, of all people in the world. However, Charity did not get discouraged after these strokes of fate and the resulting renewed weight gain and continued to fight. In fact, as a result, she was able to cut her weight in half from the former 780 pounds and reached a weight of 385 pounds through a healthier diet and exercise. This massive weight loss also meant she had to go through surgery 3 more times, with these surgeries ridding her of excess skin and ulcers. Through these surgeries alone, Charity lost another 110 pounds and came closer and closer to her desired weight of under 220 pounds. Charlie was also fueled by her mother's weight loss successes and also underwent stomach reduction surgery and joined her mother in the diet change. As a result, she even went from a starting weight of 385 pounds to under 154 pounds. 4 years after the life-saving stomach surgery, Charity actually managed to weigh only under 200 pounds. She has also moved back to her home in Iowa, as has her daughter Charlie. There, she now leads a self-determined life and has also dared to get behind the wheel again after 20 years and drive a car herself in order to prove to herself that she is capable of leading an independent life again. But it seems as if she is really pursued by bad luck, because her daughter Charlie wrote in a Facebook post that her mother has undergone treatment for a kidney cancer diagnosis and thus is already fighting for her life. So, what Charity's future looks like is very uncertain. But, as we have seen, she is a fighter, which is why we wish her only the best for her and her daughter. Let us know in the comments your opinion on obesity. Like our video if you found it interesting, and see you next time.